So let's start with page 209. As 208 was homework, we'll begin with page 209. Who's going to read now?
I can read. Vasistha continued. One who engages himself in inquiry is not tempted by distractions. The eyes but see.
We are reading page 209.
Sorry. Okay. Vasistha continued. There is another mode of inquiry which was adopted by the sage Vithavya. This sage used to roam the forests in the mountain ranges known as Vindhya. At one stage he became totally disenchanted with the affairs of the world which create delusion, and through the contemplation which is free from all perverse notions and thoughts, he abandoned the world as a worn out illusion. He entered his hermitage, seated himself in the lotus posture, and remained firm like a mountain. Having withdrawn the senses and having turned the attention of the mind upon itself, he began to contemplate as follows. How fickle is the mind! Even if it is introverted, it does not remain steady, but gets agitated in a moment like the surface of the ocean. Tied to the senses, like the sight, it bounces again and again like a ball. Having been nourished by the senses, the mind grasps the very objects that it has given up, and like a demented person, it runs after the very things from which it had been restrained. It jumps from one object to the other like a monkey. I shall now consider the character of the five senses through which the mind thus gets distracted. O senses, has the time not yet arrived for you all to attain self-knowledge? Do you not remember the sorrow that followed your pursuit of pleasure? Then give up this vain excitement. Truly, you are inert and insentient. You are the avenue through which the mind flows out to reach objective experience. I am your Lord. I am consciousness, and I alone do all these as the pure intelligence. You, O senses, are false. There is no connection whatsoever between you and the consciousness, which is the self. In the very light of the consciousness, which is non-volitional, you function even as people perform various actions in the light of the sun. But do not entertain the false notion, O senses, that I am intelligent, for you are not. Even the notion I am alive, that you entertain falsely, is conducive only to sorrow. There is nothing but consciousness, which is beginningless and endless. O wicked mind, what then are you? The notions that arise in you, that is, I am the doer and I am the enjoyer, which appear to be great rejuvenators, are in fact deadly poisons. Do not be so deluded, O mind. In truth, you are neither the doer of any thing, nor are you the experiencer. You are inert, and your intelligence is derived from some other source. How are pleasures related to you? You yourself do not exist. How do you have relations? If you realize, I am but pure consciousness, then you are indeed the self. Then how does sorrow arise? When you are the unlimited and unconditioned consciousness.
Yeah, so beautifully it has been put, no? This is his self-contemplation. Even page 208 was a similar self-contemplation of the sage Samvarta. And this also, page 209, is the contemplation of sage Vithavya. Yeah. But before we go into his contemplation, have you started contemplating yet? Or are you still just lost in the material pleasures of the world and oh, no time to contemplate? Are you still there? Just ask yourself this question. Where are you? And what are you doing on this spiritual path? Why are you even attending Yoga Vasistha if this contemplation has not started? What's the point? This is not a book reading evening, nothing else to do, come on, let me read a nice book. No. Yeah? It's very important that self-contemplation begins. At least now, it's been several years for most of you, almost all of you now. Yeah? Going within, actually checking what is this mind. It keeps running after the pleasures. And all these pleasures only belong to the five senses. It goes out, it gives so much importance to something it sees, to something it touches, to something it hears. Sense of sound, somebody's words are so important to you. Have you stopped, running after these pleasures, or are you still running around like a mad monkey? Homework for you. You really need to wake up. Enough of running around. I'm not saying give up pleasures of the world, but recognize the futility of it all. I'm not saying drop your family, drop your job, drop your career, but waking up is very important. Yes, and the first step of waking up is self-contemplation. That's exactly what is mentioned on this entire page. Yeah? So let's look at sage Vithahavya's self-contemplation. So he was in the Vindhya mountains and he's sitting and he is contemplating. Okay? Let's directly start with the second paragraph. How fickle is the mind? Even if it is introverted, it does not remain steady. What is introverted? What is introverted? So most of the times we are extroverted as we are lost in the objects of the senses. Yeah, when at least during meditation I close my eyes, I want to go within, I have that intention, so I am introverting the mind, but then also it is not steady. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I observe the gap, I'm steady, and again it's out. My eyes might be closed, I'm not listening to anything, but in the mind, the objects of the senses are still playing, they're talking, they're dancing around in the head. Yes, that is the meaning of that line. How fickle is the mind? Even if it is introverted, it does not remain steady. Yeah? But gets agitated in a moment. How? Like the surface of the ocean. Just a thought of some friend has to come. That's it. When you start on that entire internal dialogue about what that friend said to you and what you said and what happened and then what did not happen, gone. Your meditation is gone for a toss. Doesn't this happen? Yeah. So that's exactly what he noticed. And he is calling a spade a spade. What do? Oh, we get lost in that internal dialogue. We are not ready to face it and say, oh, again my mind has got lost in that internal dialogue. The moment you observe a mischievous child in the room who's jumping around, breaking things, just observe him with a stern eye. What happens? He freezes in the corner, no? That's all this first statement is really. He's observing how the mind is. Yeah? Tied to the senses, like the sight, it bounces again and again like a ball. Having been nourished by the senses, the mind grasps the very objects that it has given up. Why is he saying given up? Because here he has really given up everything and gone to the mountains and he's really sitting and meditating. But in the mind he's still thinking about wife, child, whatever he left behind, house. So he's saying that the mind still is caught up in the objects of the senses that it has given up. And like a demented person, it runs after the very things from which it has been restrained. It jumps from one object to the other like a monkey. So he's observing his own mind. Oh, it's constantly doing this. It's constantly jumping here and there like a monkey. I shall now consider the character of the five senses through which the mind thus gets distracted. O senses, has the time not yet arrived for you all to attain self-knowledge? Do you not remember the sorrow that followed your pursuit of pleasure? What is he talking about? Whenever you have a raga or dvesha, yeah, it's a desire. Desire comes up. Yeah, from that desire, when you act, yes, whatever the fruit of action is always bad. Yeah, even if it might seem like pleasure, the pleasure is temporary. It is short term. Yes, once you start running behind a car, I want a car, I want a car. Come on, you get a car. After you get a car, what do you say? Oh, I have to maintain it. It will break down. What will I do with this? What will I do with that? The servicing is so expensive. Oh, I was better without a car. It was cheaper to live. Now I have to make more money. Yeah, so the joy was so temporary, so short-lived. The joy went away. Immediately something else started. Another drama started after you acquired that little desire that you were running behind. So he's reminding his senses. In your pursuit of pleasure, don't you remember how painful it was at the end? Then give up this vain excitement. Excitement is in both, huh? In raga also it's excitement, even in dvesha it is excitement. Yeah, I don't want to see somebody else, I'm exciting myself actually. Yeah, I'm not calm. Yes, calm cannot be in dvesha or in raga. Calmness is just an equanimous state of mind, neither going up nor down. Yeah, so he's saying, give up this vain excitement. Truly you are inert and insentient. You are the avenue through which the mind flows out to reach objective experience. Yeah, you understand this, no? The mind goes out into the world and perceives the world through the five senses, and this world is just sense objects. So that is the meaning of that line. You are the avenue through which the mind flows out to reach the objective experience. I am your Lord. Now who's this I? Is it the ego? Yeah, it is the Purusha speaking. Yes. I am consciousness and I alone do all these as the pure intelligence. You, O senses, are false. There is no connection whatsoever between you and the consciousness which is the self. Yes. In the very light of the consciousness which is non-volitional, you function even as people perform various actions in the light of the sun. Yeah. This is just a metaphor used here, basically to tell you that the body is nothing without the consciousness. Yes. When somebody dies, can those eyes see? Can those ears hear? Can the tongue taste anything? Can the fingers feel anything? No. So the senses are nothing by themselves. They are false. Yes. Whatever is the consciousness, because the consciousness runs the senses. But look at the irony of the human, that he's become a slave of these senses. Yeah? So now this is the Purusha or the consciousness in Vitahavya that is waking up the senses, that is telling the senses, you are insentient, you are false. Even the notion I am alive that you entertain falsely is conducive only to sorrow. There is nothing but consciousness which is beginningless and endless. O wicked mind, what then are you? The notions that arise in you, like I am the doer and I am the enjoyer, which appear to be great rejuvenators, are in fact deadly poisons. Do not be so deluded. Why is he saying that they are deadly poisons? Why is doership deadly?
It just builds on you. You get attached to all the things. So you go back to the whole cycle. I did this because I want, I don't want. So you get back wrapped to the whole thing that you're trying to have.
Perfect. So basically, perfect, Arunanti. So basically, I am the doer and I am the experiencer. Predominant is the I. This I was the reason really why you came out of the pool of consciousness. You're still holding on to that root cause of the problem and you're feeding it. Yes? So more and more impressions of karma get created, and because of those impressions of karma, you come back again and again, birth and death and birth and death, and you are caught in the vicious cycle. That is why they are deadly poisons. Got it? Do not be so deluded, O mind. In truth, you are neither the doer of anything nor are you the experiencer. You are inert and your intelligence is derived from some other source. Got it? Why the mind works? It is because of the Purusha, the consciousness. If the consciousness leaves, the mind cannot work. The mind cannot perceive the data from the five senses. Got it? It has no identity of its own. It cannot stand alone. So it cannot say also that it is the doer or it is the experiencer. How are pleasures related to you? You yourself do not exist. How do you have relations? If you realize I am but pure consciousness, then you are indeed the self. Then how does sorrow arise in you when you are the unlimited and unconditioned consciousness? Got it? The only thing that we have to realize is that I am that consciousness. That's it. There is no other step really. It's a one-step process. You have to drop this false identification with the mind that you have. Completely drop this identification and recognize, oh, I am that Purusha. I am that self. Yeah, because mind is nothing but I, the ego. The moment the ego drops, you recognize, oh, I am the self. Yeah.
One time he says mind is self, and one time mind is nothing but ego.
Till the time you identify with the mind and you say, I am the doer, I am the experiencer, till the time you are lost in it, yes, till that time you are bound. The moment you drop that identification, separate yourself and talk to the mind as if you are separate from the mind. Talk to your senses the way Vita Havya is talking to his senses. Yeah? Then they drop off. Their power drops off. Right now they are very powerful. Why? Because you have identified with them. You become one with the senses. That is why you get dragged into the senses and their sense objects. Whatever it is. Husband, wife, child, friend, whatever. You get dragged because of the identification. That's all that needs to be dropped.
The continuous process, even the day when you are working, you just have to tell yourself that.
Obviously, Obviously, how many lifetimes that you kept the false identification on. So that impression is very strong, na? Now, such a strong impression will not go so easily. It's like a very bad habit. Yeah?
Yes, very much.
Yes.
That's
Lot of work is required. It's the same like an alcoholic is addicted to that alcohol. He just cannot do without it. And if he tries to go away from it, then he gets these withdrawal symptoms. That's exactly what happens with us. Yeah, we think about becoming, very spiritual, give up this, give up that, the more temptations attack. Have you noticed that? Yeah. Oh, earlier I didn't have these temptations. Suddenly, from where have they come? Yeah, it's not that they've come suddenly. You were really unaware earlier, and right now you're becoming a little more disciplined and distanced yourself from these pleasures, and that is why they want to attack you even more strongly now. That's the force of Maya. Yeah. Clear? Page 209. Yeah. Let's go to page 210. Who's going to read now?
I can the differently.
Okay.
You can calculate. You are on right. Ekta is here. Ektaji, I can read.
Okay. One of you can start reading. Everybody else can go on mute, please.
O mind, I shall gently bring home to you the truth that you are indeed neither the doer nor the. I'm sorry, my eyes are painted. Nor the experiencer. You are indeed inert. How can a state, how can a statue made of stone dance if your intelligence is entirely independent, it is entirely dependent upon the infinite consciousness? Then may you live long in that realization. Yeah. However, what is done with the intelligence or the energy of another is considered to be done by the less. The sickle harvest is the energy of the farmer, and hence the farmer is said to be the harvest. Similarly, though it is the sword that cuts, the man who wields the sword is the tiller. You are in a mind. Your intelligence is derived from the infinite consciousness. The self or the infinite consciousness knows itself by itself. It experiences itself in itself by itself. The Lord endeavors to enlighten you continuously. For the wise should thus instruct the ignorant in hundreds. The light of the self alone exists as consciousness or intelligence. That itself has come to be known as the mind. If you realize this truth, you will instantly be dissolved.
Yeah. So he's talking to his own mind now, saying, I shall gently bring the truth home. Now you have to understand this thing. Here he has become, the Purusha has become the teacher and the mind is the student. Yes? So beautifully this has been put. Yeah, and the teacher is telling the student, yeah, the disciple, you are indeed neither the doer nor the experiencer. You are indeed inert. Yeah. How can a statue made of stone dance? If your intelligence is entirely dependent upon the infinite consciousness, then may you live long in that realization. However, what is done with the intelligence or the energy of another is considered to be done by the latter. The sickle harvests with the energy of the farmer, and hence the farmer is said to be the harvester. So what is he trying to say here? Arunaji, can you mute yourself? Lot of background sound. So what is he trying to say here? So when a farmer is using his sickle and he is harvesting, all the credit goes to the farmer, correct? Not to the sickle. Can the sickle do anything without the farmer? Exactly like that. The consciousness or the Purusha in you is the farmer. This mind is just the sickle. It is the tool of the Purusha. Yes, this body is also just a tool of that Purusha. Yes, you have to recognize this, that it is that energy of the Purusha that is helping this entire process of life to happen. Yeah? So, the Purusha is now educating the body-mind complex. So beautifully this has been put here. Huh? So we'll read that bold letters again. That is the sutra. What is done with the intelligence or the energy of another is considered to be done by the latter. Yeah, means whatever actions you are doing, whatever is happening through you, is actually got nothing to do with you. It is being done by the consciousness, correct? The Purusha. So, it is considered to be done by the Purusha and not by the body-mind complex. The sickle harvests with the energy of the farmer, and hence the farmer is said to be the harvester. Similarly, though it is the sword that cuts, the man who wields the sword is the killer. Yeah, this is so beautifully put. He's giving you so many examples to help understand that everything is the Purusha. Yeah, and like I've said n number of times to you, yeah, this entire life process is nothing but a one-player chess. He is only playing on both the sides. Yeah, we are just little pawns on that chessboard. One step we move and we think, yeah, I moved. Did I move? No. He is the one who's actually moving me from A to B. I think, oh, I did something, I moved. If I had not intended, if I didn't have that raga, I would not get there. Nonsense. How many times you have experienced that something happened even when you never really desired it? Even when you didn't even put little bit of effort in that direction, you suddenly got it. Hasn't that happened? Yeah. That itself tells you that He's doing it all. Yes. There is just one story, and it is His story. We are just side characters. Yeah, we are puppets. He's pulling our strings from the top. Yeah, when we realize this, then you become a Nitya Dasa. Yeah, we've done this in Narada, if you remember. Nitya Dasa is somebody who is always a servant to the Lord. Yeah. And at the same time, Nitya Kanta. At the same time, in love with the Lord. Yeah? Like when you love somebody, your own girlfriend, boyfriend, your own husband, wife. Remember how it was in those first few honeymoon days? Anything your beloved said to you, you would do. Right? Yes, of course it changed after the honeymoon days, I know that. Yeah. But in those days you were like a Nitya Dasa and a Nitya Kanta. Complete surrender, right? That's exactly the state of somebody who realizes the self or the Purusha or the Brahman consciousness. Nitya Dasa and Nitya Kanta. Yeah, forever a servant of the Lord and forever in love with the Lord. Yeah, where there is both love and respect. Yeah. So here the Purusha, the one who deserves this love and respect, is actually waking up the mind. Wake up, drop these senses. Yeah? These senses are just like horses and they are all over the place. Yeah? Drop this doership. It has got nothing to do with you. You are inert, O mind. Your intelligence is derived from the infinite consciousness. That self or the infinite consciousness knows itself by itself, experiences itself in itself by itself. This is so true. Yeah? It's like this light coming out from the lamp. Yeah? We can never give any credit to the external lamp, however beautiful it is, whether it is a floor lamp or that lamp on the ceiling, it doesn't matter. All the credit goes to what? The electricity, right? So electricity is actually experiencing itself as light. Yeah? By its own power, it is experiencing itself as light. Yeah? It's got nothing to do with the lamp. The lamp has got nothing to do with that electricity. Just like that, it is that one consciousness that is experiencing and doing everything. It is just that. So drop this I. Drop this false identification with the mind. Ego is nothing but your false identification. And then the I doesn't stop there. It holds on to an object of the sense. Yeah? And then that object becomes mine. Yeah? So I and mine are the two biggest diseases. Yeah? When you drop these two biggest diseases, I and mine, you will recognize that everything is the consciousness. It is the consciousness that experiences itself by itself. The Lord endeavors to enlighten you continuously, for the wise should thus instruct the ignorant in 100 ways. The light of the self alone exists as consciousness or intelligence. That itself has come to be known as the mind. If you realize this truth, you will instantly be dissolved. Yes. So the mind is what? Nothing but the intelligence of the consciousness. Yeah, but that intelligence got lost in what? In the objects of the senses and got attached to the Maya, and then the whole roller coaster ride began. So you have to just separate out the objects of the senses and this entire Maya. Yes, and recognize, oh, I am the Purusha. Yes, that's the whole paragraph in one line. If you realize this truth, you will instantly be dissolved. Shalini, will you read ahead, please?
Sure. O fool, when you are in truth, the infinite consciousness. O fool, when you are in truth, the infinite consciousness, why do you grieve? That is omnipresent, that is the all. When you realize it, you become the all. You are not
Let me explain this. So basically Brahman divided into Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is nothing but the reflection of the Brahman consciousness itself. Yeah. So just like the drop of water or water in this glass is not different from the water in the ocean. Yes, it's exactly the same. But here in the glass it is limited. Yeah. So imagine this glass is the body and this water inside is the Purusha. Yeah. So when this Purusha is not different from that Brahman consciousness, there can be only two things, the Brahman consciousness and the inert substance, that is Prakriti. Got it? There cannot be a third thing. Is this very clear? Yeah. This Prakriti cannot exist without the Purusha. Yes. So for example, if I take the water out, this glass becomes empty and it's of no use. Yes. Just like that, you remove the Purusha from this entire creation. Yes. Completely remove it. This entire creation is inert, non-existent. Do you understand the meaning now completely of inert, non-existent? Yes. So the Purusha runs this Prakriti and makes it living. It is the energy of the Prakriti. So basically, at the core there's just two, the inert substance and the Purusha. Clear? Now we'll read the paragraph. O fool, when you are in truth, the infinite consciousness, why do you grieve? That is omnipresent. That is the all. When you realize it, you become the all. Yeah? You are not. The body is not. The one infinite consciousness alone exists. And in that homogeneous being, the diverse concepts of I and you appear to exist. Got it? So there is just one Brahman consciousness pool. In that different glasses came up. All these bodies came up. Because of that Purusha actually. The Purusha is running all these glasses. But these glasses think, oh, I. And because there is I, therefore there is a you. Without I, you cannot exist. Without you, I cannot exist. Got it? That is why you is always a reflection of I. Always. Yes? Therefore, when I drops, you also drop. When you drops, I also drops. They cannot stand alone. There's no existence. They both must drop together. Yeah? And this coming up of I is like the water in the glass saying, oh, I am water. I am the only water. Yeah? It's foolishness. That is what the mind is stuck in. You are not. The body is not. The one infinite consciousness alone exists. And in that homogeneous being, the diverse concepts of I and you appear to exist. If you are the self, then the self alone exists, not you. If you are inert but different from the self, then you do not exist either. For the self or the infinite consciousness alone is all. There is not else. There is no possibility of the existence of a third thing apart from the consciousness and the inert substance. Got it? Yeah? Either the mind is or the consciousness is. Both cannot be. It's not possible. Yeah? So if you now understand that the consciousness is, obviously the mind is not, the body is not. Yeah? It requires a very fine intelligence to understand this. It can get overwhelming, but really be very sharp, and if this is kind of difficult, go through it again. Yeah? Both cannot exist. It's either or. Yeah. Okay, Shalini, you can continue.
Much better when you read it. Oh mind, you are neither the doer nor the experiencer. You have been used as a channel of instruction by the wise ones in their communication with the ignorant. But in fact, the channel is unreal and inert. The self alone is a reality. If the farmer does not use the sickle, can it harvest? The sword has no power to kill either. O mind, you are neither the doer nor the experiencer. Hence, grieve not. The Lord, consciousness, is not like you. Hence, do not grieve for him. He does not gain anything by either doing or not doing. He alone pervades all. There is naught else. Then, what shall he do and what shall he desire? You have no relationship to the self except as fragrance to a flower. Relationship exists only between two independent beings of similar nature when they strive to become one. You, O mind, are never agitated. The self is ever at peace. There can thus be no relationship between you two. If, however, you enter into the state of samadhi or utter equanimity, you will remain firmly established in consciousness without the distraction of diversity or the notion of either many or one, and realize that there is but one self, the infinite consciousness which shines as these countless beings.
So he has explained very beautifully to the mind, either the inert substance can exist or the consciousness can exist. Yeah, you decide, and it's so obvious. Oh, it's the consciousness that exists, so the inert does not. Yeah? With this realization, he says, "O mind, you are neither the doer nor the experiencer. You have been just used as what? A channel of instruction by the wise ones in their communication with the ignorant." This is so beautiful. Yeah? When the mind is used for the best reason possible on this planet, that is this reason, as a channel of instruction by the wise ones to communicate with the ignorant. In fact, that channel is unreal and inert. The self alone is the reality. Yeah, because it is that Purusha only that is working and making the mind speak knowledge and educate the ignorant. If the farmer does not use the sickle, can it harvest? The sword has no power to kill either. O mind, you are neither the doer nor the experiencer. Hence grieve not. The Lord or the consciousness is not like you. Hence do not grieve for him. He does not gain anything by either doing or not doing. You say, no, what's the point of doing anything? Let me not do. Not doing is also a doing. Yeah? Just be. Just be. Dropping this doership and non-doership both. Yeah? Just being. Yeah? You have moved away from the mind and to the Purusha, to the self. The same thing Ashtavakra said, Sakshi Bhav, be a witness to all that is. The moment you are a witness, the doing stops. The non-doing also stops. Whatever is, is. Yeah? Just be. So he says, the Lord does not gain anything either by doing or not doing. He alone pervades all. There is naught else. Then what shall he do and what shall he desire? Yeah? So God is not doing anything to you. Hopefully you've stopped imagining him in white clothes and white beard sitting on a white cloud right up there making notes for you. Yeah? Hopefully you started understanding that he's not different from electricity or magnetism or the gravity of the earth. Yeah? He's just pure energy and he's all around. Yes? That is working. It has a law of its own and the law is called Niyati. And the way Niyati accomplishes its whatever policies and procedures and gets things done is through karma, which comes to you. Yeah? It's beautiful. The most beautiful law of nature. Yeah? So he's not really doing anything. You are getting stuck in doership and creating impressions for yourself. And that is the karma cycle. The moment you drop the doership and the non-doership both and just be, yeah, you will be free from this cycle. Yeah. You have no relationship to the self except as fragrance to a flower. Relationship exists only between two independent beings of similar nature when they strive to become one. You, O mind, are ever agitated and the self is ever at peace. There can thus be no relationship between you two. If, however, you enter into the state of samadhi or utter equanimity, you will remain firmly established in consciousness without the distraction of diversity or the notions of either many or one, and realize that there is but one self, the infinite consciousness which shines as these countless beings. So beautiful. Yeah? He explains exactly how can a relationship happen. Relationship happens between two similar. Yeah? They have to be similar nature. Yeah? Then only there is a relationship between the two. Yes, but the mind is ever agitated and the self is at peace. They are not at the same rhythm only. Yeah? They cannot be together. Doesn't work. Yes, but if the mind stops being agitated and starts being calm, then it has come to that same level of the consciousness and then it can get established in the consciousness and recognize that, oh, all is just the consciousness. Got it? That is why meditation. If you have an agitated mind, you cannot get enlightened. Impossible. Because you are at different wavelengths. That is why meditation, that calms the mind and brings it at the level of the consciousness. Yeah? Makes it very calm. Yeah? Consciousness is at a sambhava level. Mind is either super excited or super depressed. It's never at the center. Have you noticed? Either you're super excited about something in life or you're super depressed. Your graph keeps going like this, like this, like this. And the self is absolutely at a calm sambhava level. Yes? Unless you learn to drop this graph up, down and come to this level of equanimity, you cannot really click with the consciousness. That gelling cannot happen. Yes, this relationship gets formed only in Sambhava. Yes, that is why meditation. Now you understood why meditation is so important. Yeah, and then meditation with, an effort for a long time makes your mind completely equanimous, where it stops being super excited or super depressed and becomes absolutely like the consciousness, established, steady, sharp, completely aware. Yeah? Then there is no difference between you and the consciousness. Got it? Yeah. Homework number 2 for you. You recognize how agitated your mind is. Yeah? In a day, how many times your graph goes up and down and up and down. Now also it's about 10 p.m. there. Yeah, you're going to sleep in a while. Just remember everything that happened during the day and how many times your graph went up. Up is super excitement and happiness, and very passionate you felt about something, very ambitious. Yeah, your graph went up. Yeah, or you feeling very sad, your graph went down, or angry or hurt or annoyed or disappointed, upset, your graph was down. So just see, go back to the past 8, 10 hours, 12 hours in the day, whatever, and see how many times your graph was either up or down, up or down. And try and remember, were there at least few moments in the day where you were completely equanimous? Did it happen at all? It's not necessary that it will happen only when you're meditating. Maybe you're meditating with your eyes closed, but you're thinking about why Prashanjit said this and he should not have said this, and constantly my graph is like this. Yeah, so it's not necessary it was in meditation. You could have had a very calm, equanimous mind when there was no emotional upheaval inside. Yeah. So Jains do this process every night really. They observe what happened during the day, and then whatever action it was, they surrender to the Lord, to the God. Yeah? And drop it. It's a way of erasing karma. Yeah? It's a very sweet process. So let's do this tonight. Before you sleep, sit on your bed, say goodbye, good night to everybody. Yeah? Switch off your light and then sit on your bed. And just remember how many times, what happened during the day. And let go, drop. It's okay, let me drop. I know there could be a big emotional situation right now in your life. It's okay, drop. For the day, I'm going to let this go. Yes, at least for today, I'm going to just free my baggage and go to sleep. I need a good night's sleep. Yeah, even if it's been a very tortureful day, it's okay. Just observe whatever the emotions were and see, did I have few moments of equanimity? Can I just let go of whatever happened and just be? Yeah. And then if you've taken Sahaj or whatever, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just take your mantra, lie down and go to sleep. If you've not taken Sahaj and don't have your mantra, it's okay. Just 5-10 minutes, observe the breath, the gap that we are doing for the past few days. Yeah, keep observing the breath in and the breath out, and then the breath in and the breath out, and the gaps inside and outside, and then go to sleep. Clear? I really need you guys to start your contemplation. 3-4 years, guys, long time. Yeah? So start your journey of contemplation. Recognize every time your mind runs out through the 5 senses, any sense it could be, how it craves for that, And then can you talk to your mind and say, it's nothing. Last time also you ran after this, you craved for this gulab jam or this candy or this chocolate, and it was not really any great pleasure. Recognize this. Later on you crib and cry that, oh, I have put on 2 pounds extra. Just talk to your mind. Start talking to your mind as if it is separate from you. Talk to your senses as if they are separate from you. Yeah. See how your mind or your sense of sight will say, oh, let me watch one episode before I sleep. You have to get up tomorrow morning and go to work early. Yeah, but the eyes want to still enjoy. Oh, I just did 1.5 hours of yoga Vasistha. I didn't get my TV time today. Yeah, observe. See how the sense of sight is just craving. It's just a raga. Again, bring it back and talk to it. See, it's not pleasurable. You lose 1 hour of sleep. Yeah, maybe 2 hours. And you have to get up early. It doesn't make sense. You'll be yawning in office tomorrow. Talk to your own mind. Start the process of contemplation. Yes? Got your homework? Lots of homework today. Yes? For the whole week, you have to continue this. What you're doing, you're going to do tonight. You will do tonight, remembering the whole day and surrendering whatever super excitement and super depression. Yeah? And the whole week you will continue doing this in the night before you sleep and talking to your senses and to your own mind. Yes? Clear? Okay. Any questions before we go?
Yeah, I just wanted to understand one thing. So, using the example of the sickle, so the farmer energy. So, whatever we're doing, it's the energy that's making things happen. Right? Now, we getting attached to some raga and dvesha, is that also being done by the energy making us getting attached to that?
No. See, when you identify with the sense object, yeah, for example, I like this, whatever, juice, this smoothie, alcohol, whatever little thing that the sense of taste gets attached to. Yeah, I start identifying with it. What is the meaning of identifying? Means I start thinking I'm getting pleasure from that sense object. But really the pleasure is not there. The joy is here. Yeah. The moment you start recognizing it, you will see, oh yeah, there's no pleasure in that piece of candy or in that juice or that alcohol. It could be a person, it could be a job. Yeah, the pleasure is within. The pleasure is not without. This recognition itself leads to that separation. That is what is said in that sickle and the farmer example. The sickle cannot do anything. So even the raga and dvesha that is created is because of your misunderstanding. The mind has started identifying with the objects of the senses. The Purusha is saying, oh, you are extroverted. Come back and recognize that these objects of the senses do not give you pleasure. It is I who give you pleasure. Got it? So the Purusha is the teacher teaching the disciple, the mind, that the pleasure is not in the objects of the senses.
Turn inside in.
Yeah. Even when it turns inside, the mind is still running outside. So this has to be an educational kind of journey for the mind. Till the mind does not really understand this, like till you were a little kid, you thought your life was that little red toy truck, or for girls, that doll, little Barbie doll. But then, you grew up, that maturity happened. Here, maturity will happen with that proper education. That is what is being done here. And that for you is the contemplation. Your self-contemplation is nothing but your extra effort, your purushartha towards educating the mind that the pleasure is not external in that sense object or mind. Look within. I, the Purusha, am giving you that pleasure. Clear? Everybody clear? You got his question and the answer?
Ektaji, I wrote it already, but what I was going to say is nothing new. When we were discussing about we just being the pawn and everything is kind of dictated by the divine. So my question was, in that case, why even attempt anything? So again, this question has been asked umpteen times. Everything is just continuous due to the will of the divine. So I don't need to do anything.
Your not wanting to do anything is also an action. I just explained it 10 minutes ago. I said, drop this doing and the not doing. Both are actions. Just be. Just be. This not doing is a dvesha. Doing is a raga. Move away from both. Move away from both. Just be. What is, is.
So what is happening is also just something that is already decided by the divine. Meaning what I'm considering doing, whether it is studying or even being with you today, this is also ordained by the divine.
No. Everything is done by you. You are 100% responsible for whatever is happening.
Then where am I the pawn?
Because you have identified, that is why it is all happening because of you. The moment you drop the identification with the senses, you will not exist anymore. You are the pawn because you have identified, and that is why you're going through the sukha and dukkha.
It's not possible that way.
It is. The moment you drop this identification, you will not exist, Arunaji. There will be no Aruna and there will be no soul that is beyond that body called Aruna, and it will not come back. This drop will merge with the ocean. There will be no existence of this drop. The existence of this drop or this little water is because it's identified with this glass. It thinks it is this glass. The dukkha and sukha of this Purusha is because of this glass. This glass is the bondage. And the relationships of this glass are the sukha and dukkha of this glass. They are the bondage of this glass. The moment this Purusha realizes, oh, I am not this glass and I am not the relationships of this glass. The Purusha is freed from the glass. It unites with the Brahman consciousness. It does not exist anymore. That is the only happiness. These small little pleasures and pain, somebody said some nonsense or somebody did something to you or you got that $1 million, all temporary, all temporary, all belong to this glass. Got it? The moment you drop the identification with the body, you do not exist, you get dissolved.
So Ektaji, I don't want to continue. I might take this offline with you. But even if we take just the glass example, the drops in the glass are contained by the glass. They are not the same as the drops in the whole big open ocean.
No.
They are controlled by that glass. So are my emotions until this body exists.
No.
Are they not controlled by this body?
Not at all, not at all. So this is just an analogy, but really it is this Purusha that is controlling the glass. It is this Purusha, it is the energy which has given the glass its existence. The glass is only an inert substance. Yeah? This body and this mind and the emotions really do not exist. It is only a drama. It is all a dream. One day you're going to wake up and say, oh my God, what have I been doing?
I have a question, but it's unrelated to.
बोलो बोलो.
So today I read a quote that said, yoga is the experience of the consequences of being your true self.
Yoga is the experience.
Yoga yoga is the experience of the consequences of being your true self, yourself.
Okay.
I'm using the word experience. I don't know if that was there, but yoga is that was the quote, and it's from Bhagavad Gita.
Maybe experience word was not there. Something else must be there.
Yeah, I'm forgetting, but explain. Can you still explain?
Yeah, I can. So basically this uniting, what it is saying, this uniting of this Purusha or the consciousness with the body-mind complex is really not a union. Or you recognizing that you are the Purusha is not really true. It's just said so that you understand it, but really you are the ocean. The water in the glass cannot say, oh, I have to unite with the ocean, then I will become water. Not true. Yeah, but to explain it, how do we explain it to this limited water in this glass that you are not different from the ocean? Very difficult to explain, because like Rita ji was saying, I'm still feeling bound, I'm still feeling contained. Yeah, that's because the Maya is so strong. We have to really work to thinning out the layers of this Maya. And the process of thinning out the layers of this Maya is called yoga. Got it? So really there is no yoga. Yeah, there is no union really. You are already that. Yeah, it's just a process of recognition, of waking up to that and saying, oh, I am that. That's all it is. So that is the meaning of that. Got it?
Constantly watching the mind and educating the mind.
Yes, constantly. The important thing here, what Arunaji said, is constant, without a gap. You cannot afford a gap, guys. You cannot.
It's like a meditation only. When it realizes again, go back to Om Namah Shivaya or something.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sometimes you don't recognize, it just goes on and on and on, but then come back to Om Namah Shivaya.
Yes, yes,
It's like a continuous from morning to night.
yes.
Right now we are sitting with you, so it's easy to think like that. But when you get caught in an emotion or some upheaval, then you lose it. I lose it, I should say.
Yeah. Some practice is required. You cannot afford a gap, like I was telling now, that even a little bit of gap from knowledge can take you very deep down. You will fall into the valley, and then again climbing up the mountain is going to be very tough.
Yeah.
Yes, but once you've reached this particular point on the mountain, however difficult it is, don't let it slip away. Keep moving, keep chugging, whatever it is. Never give spiritual growth second priority. Yeah, everything will become a mess. Everything. Yeah.
That's also attachment, Ektaji.
No, it's not attachment. It is your commitment, your intensity to work towards something. Yeah, it is completely your commitment. Yeah. Initially, if you want to call it attachment, it's a good attachment. At least you drop the bad actions, the bad karmas, the negativity that you have surrounded yourself with. Yeah, the more time you give to spirituality, the more away you are from negativity.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's what. So keep chugging, guys. Yeah, you'll get there. Yeah, it's not tough. Okay. All set? You know your homework? Yes? So start your contemplation, guys. Yeah, keep working and I'll see you next week. Also, please read the next 2 pages. It is the similar contemplation continued. Till where did we read now? 210 we completed, right? You continue the contemplation. It's on the same lines. 211 and 212 also you complete. 213 also. Do 3 pages, okay? We'll start from page 214. Yeah? These next 3 pages are again only about the mind and the senses. If it is too tough, next time you can come with questions. Okay? Chalo. Good luck. Really do your homework. I don't want anybody lagging behind now anymore. Exam is coming up very soon. Okay? Jai Gurudev.